We do communicate with two other investigative groups in our area. They have a couple of people that they call them sensitive individuals. They're receptive, and they do that sort of thing, and they get impressions when they're in homes. They get a feeling that feelings of dread, or vague emotional feelings, things like that, and it helps them to, the way they do things, it helps them to target things, narrow down where they should be going. We like casting a broad net. We like to try to cover everything all at once, and then it means for a lot more sifting through that broad net, but it's helpful in that regard.
If you don't mind me asking, what are the group's names?
One of the ones they have a sort of a sister group, I can't recall the sister group's name, is the Maine Ghost Hunter Society. If you find us on Facebook, actually, you see some of the interactions on our posts are from, her name is Summer, and she actually co-investigated with a couple of us on a couple of things in the Bath area. And
mostly southern Maine.
Yeah, and so they do similar types of investigations. We'll actually cross-reference each other. We'll refer investigations to each other, because the importance here is we're all not on the same team per se, but we're on the same goals. We run the same goals, so we'll help each other to help clients whenever possible. So they're a great group, very stand-up. And you can link through them. We have a link on our website to their site, so you can get all their information as well.
You've got 15 minutes.
Yeah. Were there any other questions or thoughts?
Do you usually do, like, when you go to a place, do you research history before you go, or do you do that after you get your information to?
That's a good question too. We tend to research it after. I'd love to say it was based on principle, but it's usually more based on time. When we're on site, we get a lot of on-site history from what the homeowner knows. This house was built in 1820, happens to be 3 years before the town was even incorporated. So it was on a hillside behind a fort when it was built. And a second owner was a carpenter. We got in behind the walls there, under the stairs, and you could see sort of a homemade home. So it was interesting. We try to pick that up, census records, history, things like that, after, because in the beginning it's more about what is happening recently, what is the history of the experiences, and when can we get to your place as soon as possible. So that's more on a follow-up.
And again, too, we're expanding constantly, or trying to. We have people that are training with us and joining up with us that are very good at researching history and getting information on place. So that's something that we're broadening all the time as well.
You'd be surprised at how hard it is to find out the history of a home, as opposed to a history of say a person. There is no genealogy of a structure that's out there. So it's tricky. That takes almost as much time as reviewing the evidence does. So
I mean, in the case of the place in Richmond, I mean, it's right in literally the location where Fort Richmond was, which is where all the first houses that were built there, which are all basically military or shipbuilders,
merchants.
or so at least we know the overall history of the local area, at the very least.
Yeah, we've done a lot of research in our region as to the history of the overall area. And when we try to narrow down to a house, though, it gets very involved. So, anything else?
Me and my friend were thinking about starting a group of our own. Do you have any advice for that?
Yes, I would say, to coin some of the other shows and things that try before you buy it, start very simple and keep yourself honest whenever possible. We get ecstatic when we get potential evidence. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I like to think I'm very pragmatic and very self-composed. But when
The phone rings.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Exactly. The phone calls that Chelsea and Adam get, for example, are constantly, I'm emailing you this clip, it's definitely, you gotta listen to this, this is great, this is solid, I've listened to it 7 or 8 times already, I crossed it with this and that, listen to it. And they're like, hold on, they pull it up and they listen, and they're like, yeah, wasn't that when you walked into something? That was your sneeze. Man, that was your sneeze. I'm like, no, it wasn't. They're like, did you check the, so we go back.
Yeah, so on
Ghosts.
starting something up, it's literally just everyone who's doing it, if it's yourself to begin it and just one friend, just maintain an interest in it get some leads, know some family members or friends that are willing to
Yeah.
let you hang out for 7 hours in their house in the middle of the night, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of the awkward thing, hey, Ken, what are you doing this Thursday?
Don't, and that's another thing to emphasize, is don't seek an investigation. There's no quicker way than getting people thinking you're a little unusual than to say,
Yeah, don't knock on
hi,
this.
listen, somebody that used to live at your house just notified me on Facebook that your place could be haunted. I know you don't know me.
I watch it pretty regularly.
And 4 of us would like to come into your house after dark. Would that be cool with you? We're gonna bring cameras.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
And ghost hunters, don't do graveyards. Don't let your first footage be you stealthing through a graveyard in the middle of the night.
It's a crime in Maine
Yeah.
to be in a graveyard after dark
So-
without that municipality's express.
And honestly, that's the one place where the dead are supposed to be.
You know.
Have you
Frolicking
done
around.
that, like, during the day?
Investigations? Primarily not, and that's always asked, why do you do it at night?
Yeah.
And I guess in the end,
Because
it's,
we're creepy.
yeah, it's creepier,
Yeah.
which makes it slightly more entertaining, but
Not
no.
quite though, yeah.
In the end, it just seems like everyone who's having to investigate their place, it's always at night. I woke up, I saw it when I, went to the bathroom at 2. So half the time, a lot of the evidence that you're going on is based on the fact of the time of day that the person saw it. Also, nighttime's just quieter. It's quieter, there's much less traffic, there's no
You
people
don't
running
get this
around
issue.
outside talking,
Yeah.
TVs are off.
Yeah, things are off. I mean, if we were to sit here and count to 10 silently, it won't be silent. You're gonna start picking up, this is humming,
You can hear
that's
everything.
buzzing, the lights are buzzing. There's more
These
traffic
things,
during
I
the
mean, they
day.
pick up, you could whisper the alphabet from 3 rooms away and you're gonna hear me on here doing it. So nighttime also just helps it. Less things are turned on, everything's just quieter. And then honestly, if a place is haunted, it's gonna be haunted in the daytime.
Right. I know we cut, I'll get to your question. In short though, if you wanna do that, make sure that you pick up something inexpensive. Digital audios, these run under $50. Make sure you can upload it somehow so you have a way of recording it. Something like this, a notepad and a flashlight, some time, it's a good way to start. Find a group in your area that's already started.
And none of this stuff is groundbreakingly expensive.
Yeah, ask them to tag along. Say, I'm interested in this, would you mind me tagging along just to get it to a floor? More than likely, they're gonna say, sure, come on over. They'll ask a little bit about your background, make sure you haven't had any felonies in the last couple of days of breaking and entering.
Sign here.
Yeah, they're gonna be a little thorough, hopefully, in that regards, but you'll find that in this field, we're very receptive. And I would say, find somebody local. If there isn't anyone local, that's you. Network. We talk to people in our area. There's an overlap. We're not competing. There are times where we'll say, of the 7 or 8 of us that are on our team, 3 of us are only available to go to this place, and it's a 50-room inn or something. Would you guys come along? Can you spare a few people on that night? And we'll interact. We'll work together. It's for the greater good. So if you start up a group, network right away.
Yeah.
Find other people. So.
Yeah, tell everyone you know, you'll be surprised how many people will crawl out of the woodwork.
Right.
As soon as we told people, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, you mentioned that most of the activity you've had reported is at night. Have you had any reports yet of activity during the day?
Yes, our first investigation had a lot of activity during the day. Reports that the lady that owned the home saw a full-body apparition standing between 2 rooms, hearing things. That actually history went way back prior owners to dogs barking at nothing in corners, and these were very well-trained dogs. Babysitters freaking out.
A very bad funhouse effect.
Yes, we were able to address some of the concerns in that home. And yes, day and night. I mean, if you live there, you're 24/7 receiving these things. And if it, as Adam said before, if it is haunted, things are going to happen day. It's just a
I have
little easier to
absolutely
find it.
no problem investigating something during the day.
Right.
More than likely, people are going to be home at night. And if you're starting out, you could be a group that's been going on 5 years. You're still going to find it much more likely that someone's going to want to be home when you're there. I'll be real quiet, I swear, and hide in the kitchen. But they're not going to want to leave their house open to you in the middle of the day while they're at work.
No.
So it's just
Wouldn't expect them to either.
right. So I have no problem. I'm positive day hauntings occur. I just think it's just easier also to get there at night. But if someone wants me to come and set stuff up in the middle of the day, we're going to do it.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, I know for a fact they do.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The only time I ever saw a full-body apparition was at 5 in the evening, and it was like late spring, early summer, and that thing walked not 5 feet from me in a brightly lit room.
Yeah.
Kinda hard to miss.
Right, and it does lend a lot of
Middle of the
quality.
morning in the house that you grew up in,
Yep.
and
My
Maurice's
first
had
experiences.
strange stuff in her
Broad
house.
daylight.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've had a door pulled out of my hand, like I was closing a door and it was pulled back open.
In fact, it
Happened
almost
now.
seems like more whispering and claims and stuff like that happen.
Yeah, it's just
During the
harder
day
for us
when
to
you're
narrow
alone.
down those variables during the day.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, we've had the luck of people, I'm gonna go stay this guy's house for the night, or, my kid's staying over here and I'm just gonna stay out of your way, so night just turns out being easier.
My dogs are visiting my neighbors.
And of course, there's the whole, it's spooky at night factor, and that never hurts, but that's, in the end, that's not gonna make make or break an investigation of what time of day it is.
We have more control. If somebody says, I keep seeing something out of the corner of my eye in the kitchen during the day, at night, we're able to control the light, we're able to control the atmosphere, we're able to say, okay, let's get out the biggest flashlight we have, and we're gonna hit this room from different angles and see what all those crystal figurine collections is in the corner. What does that do to light?
Or if it's a person in a situation we trust, I would even offer, pick up one of our cameras, leave it running there all week.
Yeah.
And then give us the footage.
To people we've, known personally, we were able to do that. We said, we'll leave some of this running for you to see what
Day and
happens. Yeah. So.
I'm only rushing this along because it's pretty close to 10.